asked him for his Instagram account to continue the friendship. For me, I was thinking like, oh, I want to be her friend, like a virtual friend I was having in my mind.
Yeah, but she asked me for my Instagram, like when we already said that we're going to hang up. And I kind of wanted to ask, but I was too shy to ask. So she asked me for the Instagram account. And in the very next morning, when I woke up, I instantly wrote you that I enjoyed the talk a lot because I was like, oh, now I have the opportunity to not let it die.
Welcome to International Love Story, a podcast about intercultural relationships. My name is Christina, and in today's podcast episode, I would like to welcome Robin and Ailin. Robin is living in Germany at the moment. Ailin is living in Buenos Aires, in the province of Buenos Aires. Robin is German, Ailin is Argentinian, and they are both dating on distance. The reason why we're talking today is because they actually saw the podcast episode I recorded with Andriana and Gasal. Both of them met via Chatroulette, and funny enough, they met on Chatroulette as well. I did not even know, honestly, that this is a dating platform, so I guess they met by coincidence as well, and then things just evolved. But this is a story they can tell much, much, much better than I could possibly do. So with this being said, let's give a warm welcome to Ailin and Robin. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Tell us all about you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Robin. I'm 31 years old. Yeah, as Christina said, I'm living in Germany in the lovely city of Leipzig. I would say Chatroulette is not a dating platform, but it can be. It seems like it.
I am Ailin. I have 33 years old. I live in Buenos Aires currently. At the moment, I met Robin. I was living in Bariloche in the Patagonia of Argentina.
So it's leading to your love story. I've teased it a little bit. Robin shared that Chatroulette is not a common platform to meet the love of your life, but it
No.
just happened to happen that you guys somehow clicked. So what happened? Bring us back. Which year did you meet, first of all? What was the setting and what happened exactly?
Yeah, so it was in the end of 23. Yeah, it started really for me that I used Chatroulette in Corona times to learn English, really, to learn talking, understanding, to strengthen my English. Yeah, one evening I was on Chatroulette and I had a lot of good talks, and it was really late. It was like 1 a.m. for me already. And then I connected to Aline, and we have kind of like different versions of what happened. We can't seem to have the same story, but how I remember it, it was we connected, and she was sitting on her bed with her cats, and she remembered that differently. Yeah, we got along really, really good. Our first talk was like 5 hours long.
I never actually used chat roulette before, only like a few times with friends to have fun in some party. I only used it like 2 days really, but I started to use it to improve my spoken English because I lived in Bariloche. There's a lot of foreign people that I met in the mountain going to hike. By that time, I broke a toe, so I was in my home, really bored. And I start like I would say I was searching for a place to speak with someone in English. Then is where I met Robin, and I saw he had a cat tree behind him, and I saw his cats, and then that developed the whole conversation, the start of the whole conversation, really.
Yeah, I really think that our cats were the first connection point.
Yeah.
But if I compare both of your stories, they sound very similar. So you remember it very similar? Or is there a plot twist?
Yeah, the thing is, what I remember, what she doesn't remember, is that I saw her like in the beginning sitting on the bed with at least two of her cats. And she said that she doesn't had a cat in the background, but she saw my cats first. So this is like the point where we are not like in the same story. Well, it's not so important, but we talked about that and we were like, no, we don't have the same memories on that evening. But to be honest, I had like a few beers that evening. So maybe
Yeah.
my memory is not the best. The evening was really, really long as well. So I said we started at 1 a.m. for me. And the call ended at 6 a.m. for me in the morning, where the sun was already up again because it was so interesting and we couldn't lose each other in the talk. I couldn't be asked what we talked about. We talked about kind of everything.
Yeah, I was having a hard time because I was spending a lot of time in my home because I couldn't walk really. And I was like telling him about my whole life because he was a stranger for me. And for me, it was really easy to talk with him. Like, he doesn't know me. In my head, I was like, he will never know me. Really. So for me, it was really easy to share personal stuff, my struggles of that moment, and that's how I think it developed the whole conversation. Really, that's why we spent like 5 hours talking.
So to me, it seems like you really opened up because in your mind you were just like, I'm not going to see him again. So whatever, it's just a stranger. I'm lonely. I'm bored. Like, okay, I just pour my heart out, and you had this obviously ongoing conversation. So it wasn't just one sided. Otherwise, correct me if I'm wrong, you would have ended the call maybe a little bit earlier. But it seems like you both really, really enjoyed your conversation, and also the fact that you were able to dive deep into different topics of your lives, of your different lives, maybe exploring the one or the other similarity, like, for example, the cats that you connected over. I'm wondering, was there what was in the back of your head that you didn't want to end this conversation, that you ended up talking for 5 hours?
No, I really think it was just in the flow of the conversation. At least for me, I can say I didn't had like something in the back of my head. It was just enjoying the conversation. Of course, I found her really beautiful from the beginning. It was like the first time I saw her, I was like, wow, she's really beautiful. But this is like in this talk, it's like a stupid thought because you will never going to have someone who lives 14,000 kilometers away. Yeah, but I was interested from the very beginning. Maybe that was in the back of my head a little.
For me, it was like I felt him like he was really understanding of what I was sharing with him. I was really like enjoying the talk. I felt like a company in that moment. That's why also I asked him for his Instagram account to continue the friendship. For me, I was thinking like, oh, I want to be her friend, like a virtual friend. That's why what I was having in my mind.
Yeah, but she asked me for my Instagram, like when we already said that we're going to hang up. And I kind of wanted to ask, but I was too shy to ask. So she asked me for the Instagram account. And in the very next morning, when I woke up, I instantly wrote you that I enjoyed the talk a lot because I was like, oh, now I have the opportunity to not let it die.
Yeah, and you sent me like I was really beautiful. And that's those things already in that moment.
So in
Yeah, I was.
Argentinian Spanish, there's a word for that, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, Erin, I always pronounce it wrongly. Maybe you don't even know what I'm talking about. But chamuchero, chamuchande, no? It's very chamuchande.
Chamuchero.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I don't know what that
that
means.
was exactly what I thought when I saw that message that he wrote me like that I was really beautiful. I was like, he's a really chamuchero.
What does that mean?
It's a usually we told that to guys when they really try to flirt with you. but how can I explain it? Like when they put decorations to the situation, like, oh yes, you are really beautiful. I never met a woman like you, and I am really amazed by your beauty and all stuff. Like they exaggerate everything.
Well, I wouldn't say I did it so badly, but yeah, I was kind of offensive because I was straight interest. So I didn't help back, which was more easy because she was in Argentina, I was in Germany, so I didn't really had anything to lose, which made me more open and more, I would say, offensive in dating and flirting most of all. And I tried for a long time.
Yeah, well, the thing is, here we have a huge culture behind that thing of men trying to approach girls. So that's why maybe Argentinian women are more like stepping back when someone tells something like that, because
Yeah,
there's a lot of men that,
you were really defensive for
yeah,
month, I would say.
yeah,
But
yeah. But that's because of my background with my former relationships, that I had a really toxic relationships, and my trust was really vulnerable in that moment, and I spent a lot of years without having any relationship. For me to trust in someone, and someone that lives in the other part of the world, it was really difficult.
I mean, obviously, you are stepping back a little bit and you're more careful. Also, now that I'm living within the Argentinian culture, I know what a chamuchero is. It's basically also if you, I mean, it doesn't have necessarily a negative touch, but Argentinian men are known for knowing how to wrap a woman around their finger, and they are like little gigolos,
Yeah,
and they know exactly what to say. So they're very good in doing switch talk. Therefore, again, it's a cultural thing as well. It's very sweet and nice, but sometimes you do have to be careful. I don't want to stereotype, obviously, but I've heard some friends of mine have made a similar experience where they were just like, sweet talked, and they had this whole picture of another person, and afterwards it turned out that it was just, how you would say in German, it was just hot air but nothing behind it. Again, I don't want to stereotype, and obviously we all make different
oberflächlich.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
There.
happens a lot.
Yeah, but I would say with us, we always had on top of that, I obviously was interested, and how it said chamuchero, that we also had on top like a really good conversation, like a really deep conversation, because we started really deep. Because we both were like, when we're talking, we were like, oh, we just share everything. We're never going to meet this person. So the talk started like more deep than I had with other persons, like only after a year or two of knowing each other. Yeah, we always had a really deep and good and open conversation, most of all, because we didn't had like something to lose for nothing to hide, because we couldn't lose anything really. I think that was helpful, you know.
Yeah, and that helped us as well, because we share a lot of struggles of our lives since the beginning, and we found out that we had a lot of similarities of what we have lived. I don't know, like if giving an example, like we were both like kicked from our homes when we were young, a lot of things more. I think that helped to have a really strong connection since the beginning, and not only sharing like superficial things, and intercalating that deep talks with more superficial things like what's your favorite color or something like that. It went in a way simultaneously that I really consider him a friend of mine really early in our beginning.
What, Eileen, for you made you lose this curtain, this inner boundary? You had this inner wall that you had the confirmation that person on the other end of the world in the other end of your wall in that case as well, because you've built this defense wall due to your past relationship. What made you sure that you want to open up fully and that you want to discover where this is going to lead and be in a love relationship with this person as well?
Well, it was a long journey to that, because it was like at least 4 months of talking every day, sharing a lot of stuff. He started like to share with me that he had emotional feelings towards me. At the beginning, that scared me a lot because I wasn't prepared for a love demonstration, really. I was like thinking more about him like a friend. When he first told me that he was falling in love with me, I stepped really back and I was like, you are my friend. Like, no, we don't ruin this, kind of. But he was pretty insistent with the subject, like, no, but I am really falling in love with you. I was questioning myself what was happening with me with all these things. I talked with my friends to have a third opinion about it. I was like, something is wrong with me because I cannot open myself to have a new relationship. But then I was like, he's really sweet with me. I never met a guy who was so sweet like he is, really, with me. And I was like, well, maybe I have to open to this experience, see what happens, like just live the process. He was like, he's since the beginning told me that he wanted to visit me in Argentina. For me, that wasn't a real thing. I was like, no, he's only talking, like he's never come to visit me. With the time was flowing, he was pretty insistent with that, and I said in that moment, like, well, come to visit me and see what happens. Because I think I am falling in love with you, but I need the physical thing to really put the puzzle together. Because I never had an experience like this, to meet someone virtually, being unable to touch the other person, to kiss, and what it held me in that position as well. Then he came, but it was a really tough moment for me and for him as well, because the first time I told him like I love you, it was before he came to Argentina, and then he was like telling me that he loved me and I couldn't say it back again. It was like, no, I feel pressure by this. I feel like I cannot say it. I have to protect myself because I don't know him. I was really scared because when you met someone online, it's like you don't really know who are you talking to. I was like, I don't know if he's going to be a violent man, if he's going to switch a demon or something. And I was like, in a protection mode. For me, it was a whole process. I did therapy as well, so that helped me. It was a tough time for both of us.
How did you experience all the time?
Yeah, for me it was hard, but in a different way because I was like, for me it was really unrealistic to ever really date Eileen. I wasn't financially in a position where I could say, well, I just fly over. Right after I catched feelings, which was really early, I had in the back of my mind, I want to visit her, and secretly began to save a little bit of money so I can fly to her even before we talked about that topic, just in case everything works good. So I can say, well, I can come now. I, of course, talked about that with my friends that I want to fly to Argentina. And I think for most Germans, Argentina is not really on the map. When they think about Argentina, they think about the third world, and that sounds bad. So they were all scared of so many things. I don't know, Eileen, if you can remember that I didn't want to take an Uber because my friends told me that maybe I get kidnapped and something like that. So they put me like really fear into my mind. And my family was like, no, she just wants to use you. And I was like, obviously not, because I was the one who kind of fought for that and initiated that, but it made me insecure deep in my head, and I became like really wonky. But yeah, at one point I said like, no, I really want to fly to you, and I put my neighbor to cat sit my cats, booked the flights. Which was a really, really long travel, which was scary because I never flew that much. It was first from Leipzig to Frankfurt, from Frankfurt to Buenos Aires, and from Buenos Aires to Bariloche. So it was like, yeah, a flight around the world, really, to get out of the plane and don't really know how it's going to be. I was like, yeah, maybe if it doesn't work out, we don't understand each other, I take a hotel room for it was only 2 weeks for the 2 weeks, but thankfully that didn't happen. But I was ready for any case.
So the plan was to fly to Bariloche, which you did. I guess that it was in 2024, right?
Yeah.
Which month?
Yeah.
June 2020. Oh, so recently, 1 year ago,
Yeah.
roundabout. And you plan to stay at her apartment, accommodation, to spend those 2 weeks in Patagonia, explore Bariloche and the surrounding, or what was the plan exactly during those 2 weeks?
Yeah, I wanted to pick something that he said, that when he finally booked the flight, he turned himself backwards. I mean, that he started to be really scared because I was like trying to guide him from Buenos Aires to Bariloche. He had to stay a couple of hours. He first had to go from the international airport to the national airport. I first told him like, well, you can take an Uber from one airport to the another because they are pretty far away. And he was like, no, no. Someone is going to kidnap me. Everyone is telling me that it's a scam because you don't know her, that I was going to sell his kidneys or something like that. And I was like, well, I talked with my mom, that of course all my family is in Buenos Aires. I talked with my mom and I said, well, I didn't tell her the whole story because it was going to be really awkward. But I said, I met this guy on internet. He's going to visit me. Can you pick him
Was
up?
it wait. Was it the internet story, or was it the we met at hiking in Bariloche story?
Well, it was. Yeah, yeah. I make up a story like I already met him in person because my parents are really old school, and I wanted to. I didn't want it to give so many explanations. Really, I told her that I already met him. If she can pick him. Up from the airport to the another one at the right time that she was saying yes, and she went to pick him up, and then she gave him a tour. So in real life my mom met him first than I. And the point was that she gave him a tour. She stayed with him a couple of hours. I was doing the translation all the time through WhatsApp. He took the flight to Bariloche. I went to pick him up from the airport that day. Was really, really nervous because all my fears came at the same moment. Like, oh, what happens is if he's different or if he behaves in a certain way or something unexpected. Luckily, in the airport of Bariloche, there's like a glass that you can see the people picking up the luggages. I saw him through the glass. In that moment, my heart calmed down. I sent him a message that I was watching him, and he looked at me through the glass as well. And then he picked his luggage and he came out and we touched for the first time. And I think that was a really beautiful moment. I don't know. Help me, Mala.
Yeah, I was really scared. Also really self-conscious because I just had like a really long travel where I wasn't able to brush my teeth really, and I didn't really shower, and I had like really baggy clothes, and I was like, I see her the first time, and I look like shit, and I most likely stink like hell. Yeah, I came out of the luggage claim, went to her, and we like fell in each other's arms and instantly kissed. So and that released all the pressure with me, and I kind of cried a little.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it all went really smooth, and he stayed in my apartment for the whole 2 weeks. We did a lot of stuff. We went to the mountain. We went to walk. We went to restaurants. We spent days at home building Legos. Like everything was perfect.
So you felt like the person you picked up at the airport is actually the exact same person you've been talking to over the past few months via, yeah, online. So I'm also wondering, but I think we should put this a little bit further to the end of the podcast recording because I'm sure that will be part of your whole story as well. But obviously, I'm also wondering what was the first impression of your mom, who spent some time with Robin, who was able to meet her first. Also, how was her reaction when she learned eventually, hey, I never met this guy in person, or maybe she doesn't know nowadays and she still thinks that you met him during a hike. But again, this is something I would like to keep for the end of this podcast recording. For now, I'm just curious. You've mentioned or you've shared with us that you had this moment where you hugged and all the pressure fell down. You were both very emotional from what I understand. You spent 2 weeks together, had an amazing time. It was most likely better than you could have expected, even though I'm not sure if you've expected something because it's difficult to grab this whole emotional thing, the whole fact that you are dating on distance, that you have kilometers dividing you to really understand how it feels like when going through something. So I know how it feels like because we did long distance as well. The only difference is that we met in person first and then we did online dating. In your case, it's a little bit different. So I guess it's just like some extra. But to get to the point, after those 2 amazing weeks, there's the moment where you have to say goodbye. And out of my experience, you think about it 5 days, 6 days beforehand. So you're really able to enjoy the first days. And then there's the moment where you start thinking about the goodbye, even though if this person is still with you. How did you experience the last few days of your time together and the goodbye at the airport?
Well, I would start because I think I'm a little bit shorter. So I was able to ignore it for longer. It really and like actively trying to not let that feeling in because I wanted to enjoy the time because those 2 weeks for me were like a dream. It was like you wake up in the morning and you ask yourself, did that really happen? So I didn't want that feeling to go away. So it really hit me like 3 days before I was leaving, but there I was able to control myself. And the last 2 days, where you start to pack your stuff and things, I began to I was trying to enjoy the time, and we still did a lot of stuff, but I had it in the back of my mind. And I remember that I was like 2 nights before I was leaving, I was laying in bed, and I felt like a tear running down, and I was like, oh shit, I'm crying. And she asked me, "Why do you cry?" I'm like, I have to leave in 2 days." So that was really hard, as well as the goodbye in the airport. I think that was like the first goodbye we said, not knowing if we ever see each other again was like crazy for me. It was like every emotion could like the feelings for Aline, the sadness of leaving, the happiness of the good time we spent together. That was like really, really overwhelming. And we sat for a long time in the airport, just next to each other and kind of crying. So that was really hard.
Yeah, for me it was kind of the same because they were so happy days for me. I didn't had in a long time. It was like we fit so well together. I didn't had the time to think, oh, he's going to live in certain amount of days. But yeah, when he started to be more emotional about it, that's when I realized I try to keep a positive mind about that. Anyways, yeah, the first goodbye at the airport was like really heartbreaking. We cried a lot, and it was really tough for me when I came back to my home and he wasn't there. It was like, oh, now my home feels empty, like something is missing. The first Discord call we had after the trouble, it felt so weird. Like, oh, now I am only able to hear you through a microphone, through a computer, and it's not. Of course, it's not the same. Yeah, it was really tough, but we really quick solved the thing that to meet in 2 months after that. I had some money saved from long years that I was like keeping it and saying like, oh, someday I will travel with this money, someday I will do something with this. And then was like, this is the moment. I told him like, I want to visit you in Germany. So I quit my job before that because I spent 2 months in Germany after, but he came in June and I went to Germany in September. We knowing that I will travel there in 2 months.
Yeah, it helped to bridge a period of being apart again. And
Yeah,
one funny thing is was like she asked how long should she stay, like 2 or 3 weeks. And I say you can stay longer if you want. And she was like, yeah, how long? I was like, how long do you want to come? She was like, 2 months. I was like, yeah, okay. So that was settled. So we had a lot of more time to spend in the late summer in Germany, which was a really good time. Yeah, the 2 months after that were the time what solidified everything, really, I would say.
yeah, because it was after the whole kind of honeymoon we had at the beginning in June. Like everything was awesome and we really fit together. But spending 2 months, it was a whole different experience. We were able to set up like a routine or and
Yeah, I had
some
to
stuff.
work as well, so that was more like closer to what normal life would be.
Would you like to give some insights on how those 2 months were exactly? For example, was there a moment or were there several moments maybe where you wondered, is this the person I talked to online? Is this his real character? Because as you've mentioned, Eileen, there's a difference between like just starting dating, especially on distance, and then spending some time together. And this honeymoon phase eventually wears off. Let's be honest. It's great that it does because that's the moment where you truly and really get to know each other. So I'm wondering, 2 months is quite a long period of time for a couple that used to date on distance and that's spending a lot of quality time together, but also reality check. I'm sure it wasn't all rainbow, sunny, and flowers. So I would like to know how you've experienced those 2 months exactly, emotionally, but also when it comes to maybe, yeah, I would say shifting, but getting to know the person you're dating, like in depth, how this made you feel like.
Well, I think for me it was a really good experience because I have a tendency to get depressed really easily, and that's a thing I have for my entire life, really. So I had my days when I was feeling really bad. I wasn't feeling like getting up from bed or something like that. Not for any reason. It was only because I was feeling bad, and that happens to me a lot. In those times, I found that he was really supportive. I was like laying in bed crying and feeling like, oh no, the life is so tough. And he suddenly came up with flowers, and he tried to cheer me up. I was like, this is what is good in life, like to have someone that supports you even in those days, and not like all these flowers and pink and everything. I felt a little bit like I am in a foreign country. I never went outside of Argentina, really. I was like scared of going by myself to the supermarket or something like that. And he was like trying to encourage me to do it. He always showed me a lot of support. That really showed me like he was the person for me, because no one ever showed me such love like he did. And those are for me the crucial moments when you see that the other person really truly loves you.
Yeah, for me it was a strange experience because we came like straight out of the honeymoon phase, had like our distance talks again, and then be together again, and you expect a lot after that when someone comes, and your expectations are really high. And I remember before she came, I was like, don't expect too much, don't expect too much, but my expectations were really high as well. We even planned like a vacation in Italy while she was in Germany, a short one because I only could take like a long weekend as a vacation in my work. And for me, like the realization of it's not the honeymoon phase anymore, and it's like more like real life. It's like fights really, because when you're in a far distance relationship, when you have a fight, you can say, well, we don't write for a few hours until we cool down, and then we can talk in sense again. But if you're like living together, and you have to know, back then I lived in a 1 room apartment. It was not really tiny, but it was 1 room. So there was not really space to get out of each other's way. So when we had an argument, which not happened a lot, but it happened, then we had to solve it right there or then, or it had a chance to escalate. But we managed everything really well, which showed me like we are working good together as a team. Of course, when she had her bad days, which didn't happen a lot, I think 2 times or so, you have to think like, what's happening right now? If you're not experienced that before, is it a problem with me or not? And what can I do to solve? Well, you can't really solve them, but to make the situation maybe a little bit better, we both had birthday in September, so we had both birthdays in that time as well. That was yeah, kind of a funny coincidence, and it also showed me that she like yeah, was ready to spend her birthday in Germany with me instead of being in Argentina with a family. How much it means for her as well to come to Germany to spend the time with me. So that was like a sign of trust, a lot of trust.
Yeah, and at the second day I was in Germany, I met his entire family because everyone was in the birthday party, and I didn't knew a single word in German as well, but they were all really welcoming and really lovely. I felt really good in that party, really.
So, Robin, your family and friends, they know now that she's not a scam and
Yeah,
she's
but
not going to steal your kidney.
yeah, but it was not long before she came to Germany when they switched their thoughts around really. So and some people, for example, a grandmother of mine was, even after she left Germany again, like, be careful, she might scam you or something. So she was so annoying that I kind of stopped talking with her because I couldn't explain it to her. She was like really insistent that I am stupid and that I'm doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's a part that it hurts me a little bit because it's like maybe if I was German or if I was European, they wouldn't think that way because it's like a common belief that if we are from a third world country, we are like hunting for a visa, for a green card, or something like that. Not like that, really. It can't
I mean,
happen.
obviously, it's not like that in your case. I've been talking to so many couples over the past few years already, and the topic of a very protective family and friend group is quite common. I hope that this will settle over the next few months because to at least me, and I'm sure everyone who's watching and listening as well, it's very obvious that you're very sincere and that you both are working on making a long distance relationship work. I'm also wondering, after you visited Germany, Eileen, you flew back to Argentina. I hope you found a job quite fast because that's actually a very bold move to just quit the job and then leave the country for vacation. I guess also you were able to schedule another visit for this year, or what happened afterwards?
No, what happened afterwards? It was like we start talking like, I really don't want to keep going with this long distance relationship. I really want that we lived in the same place. It was really tough uh, to experience, to be together in real life, and then come back to the long distance. I was thinking like I didn't have a job at that time, and he has. We spoke a little, or, well, not a
A
little,
lot.
a lot about can we do this? Like if he
Yeah, and
comes to
what we expect of life.
that if he comes to Argentina, if I go to Germany, we kind of were in the same page that it will be better that I move to Germany. So I was in Bariloche, and there is only a consulate of Germany, but the embassy is in Buenos Aires. I was like, well, if I am going to move to Germany, I first want to spend some time with my family. All of them are in Buenos Aires. Basically, I start planning all the things I had to do for moving to Buenos Aires again. Then start the paperwork, everything, because I did so much paperwork because I wanted to go to Germany with my two cats. And so I had to do a lot of stuff, start to learn German as well. I moved back to Buenos Aires, and then I am living with my mom currently, so she kind of supports me.
Well, I want to go a little bit back to the story because when she was still in Buenos Aires, we were both like, no, far distance relationship is not for us really. We were thinking like and had like long talks about what do we want from life. Do we want to have a family? And we are both in our early 30s, and we both kind of want to have a kid. And we were like, we have the option now to let this run for 2 or 3 or 5 years until we make a decision, or we make a decision now. That's what we did. Yeah, we decided the best way to make it really happen is to marry. And this was really, well, it was kind of decided that we're going to marry, but I didn't propose for a long time. And when she moved to her mom, it was for me, it was like, well, now she did so much, and so now it's real. Now it's going to happen after some time. I was kind of sad, but I put on like a suit and proposed to her on Discord, really, to make it official, because I'm like old school. I was like, if I'm going to marry, I want to propose. And
Yeah, I'm 14 of February.
yeah. I thought it was a good date to do that. But it was kind of because you were kind of busy and we just had a short time, and I wanted to make it surprise, so it was kind of hard. I knew the answer, but I wanted to ask officially. Yeah, and then the preparations began with all the planning, which was for Ailin was a lot more. For me, it was kind of just to marry in Argentina. You just have to bring your passport, really, as a German. But for her, it was a lot of stress. Then we prepared for my next stay in Argentina.
Which did not happen yet.
It did happen.
Yeah, yeah.
It did happen. Ah, so I
Yeah.
misunderstood because I thought you didn't see each other this year. So you went to Argentina because it's easier to get married here. When we were looking into getting married in Argentina, that was 2016. Back then, we needed a blood test, making sure that we're not related, and that would have taken way too long. So we decided to get married in Denmark for that reason. But I know that it's easier to get married in Argentina than it is in Germany. Even for me as a German, it would have been quite difficult because I wanted to get married in the north, but I was living in the south at that time. And yeah, they made a big fuss out of it because it's not the same area, and moving papers from the south to the north of a person apparently is not that easy. But that's another story. So Germany makes it very difficult. Most countries in Europe except Denmark. I have several podcast episodes about getting married in Denmark as well, which I will link somewhere here as well.
We talk a lot about where we were going to get married. It was really difficult to go to Europe to get married, and then I start to search here in Argentina. Here in Argentina, getting married is really stupid, like funny stupid, because I got married with him. Only he had to present his passport. That's all.
Interesting. So no blood
Uh,
test needed anymore.
no, blood test is not obligatory now. That is to show your partner that you don't have any ETS, so they are in the same page. But it's not obligatory. The only thing we had to do is to have a public translator for him, as he doesn't speak Spanish. That's all we had to pay, really. The public translator, that she was in our wedding, talking in German. Everything was free. I didn't had to present any paperwork, only my ID and the ID of the testifiers of the wedding. And that's all. It was really simple to get him married here. Only that, for sure, we had to translate our marriage certificate in German for the visa and everything. But compared to Germany, it was really easy. As I had to do so many paperwork for the visa, actually, I said, well, let's choose something more easy, that is getting married here, because our marriage here is valid in the whole world. And nothing, we got married in June. We are freshly married.
Congratulations. I know, like, when talking about it, and I've made this experience as well in our marriage. Nacho did not propose, not even afterwards, by the way. So let's put them together, Robin, Nacho. No, but he did not propose, and in our case, we got married in order for me to move to the US. And if you hear it, it sounds like, oh my God, you just got married for the papers in order to. But honestly, that's oftentimes in 95% the only way for a long distance couple in an intercultural relationship to close the distance. I've barely heard couples that figured out another way, and in most cases, except in Argentina, as I've learned, apparently it's a little bit different here, but in most cases or in most countries, the country is not accepting a normal partnership if it's not on the paper. It's not enough to be boyfriend, girlfriend for several years, to have gone through up and downs in your relationship. It's not considered to be a relationship unless it's marriage, and that's actually very interesting. So I just want to make sure that everyone who's listening and or watching right now does not get the impression that the path you guys choose is not romantic at all, or it's just like, oh my God, it's just for the papers, blah, blah, blah. You married for love, obviously. You married in order to be together, to close the distance. Not gonna lie, dating on distance just sucks. You want to be with the
Yeah.
person and you want to take the leap of faith and you just want to see where this is going to lead. And then also in your case, you're over 30. Yeah, you want to build a life together. So what, you know? And again, just want to make sure that everyone who's listening or watching right now does not get the wrong perspective on this topic, because I know there are a lot of people who are just like, oh my God, she just married to get the German citizenship or to get a visa or so whatever, you know? If you're listening or watching, don't even start that topic because it's going to make me mad anyway. But back to your story, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's not
Mm.
even true because I got married with him, and I don't get a German citizenship. I only get a permit of residency that I had to renew by the time passes. So it's not like I became European only for marrying him. I need to do a lot of paperwork if I want to be a German citizen. Yeah, it's not as simple to getting married with someone from Europe. It's a lot of process and bureaucracy and a lot of paperwork. Yeah, that was the fast and easiest way to get together in a short. It wasn't another option really because I could have the Italian citizenship because I am descendant of Italian, but it's a lot of work and a lot of years it takes. So it's not a really simple thing.
Yeah, but also what I want to say is we didn't just went into the public office and get married and that was it. We had like a whole event and a party with a big location and family there. And even my best friend came with me together to Argentina because I wanted to have kind of my best man on my side. He isn't officially because he can't. You need to have an Argentinian citizenship to be able to do that. But for example, he live streamed the marriage to my family. And we had like a Google meeting so that everyone could watch live. Yeah, then in the evening, we had like a party with around 30 people with empanadas and a bar and a dance floor. So it was really cool. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was
Thank
really
you.
beautiful.
Thank you for adding this to your story. Just want to clarify again, because I know for some people it's a very sensitive topic. I see it a little bit differently because I've lived through it myself, and I know so many couples who lived through it as well. So for us, oftentimes there's just this one solution, and we still marry because of love, because we want to wake up to our favorite person every day. And paperwork, unfortunately, is a big, 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 big topic in intercultural relationships. So yeah, again, thank you so much for adding this to your story. So to get back to my initial question, Ailin, for you, when did your mom learn that you did not meet this guy during a hike? Or does she still think you met during a hike?
Well, my mom find out in our wedding day because we were in civil registry getting married, and the judge of peace, she was like, "Oh, well, I want to know how you both met." I was like, "Oh no, I have to tell the true story in front of my family." Because to my family, I told them otherwise. And then I was like, well, I have to say the truth. So that day I tell the truth story, and then she didn't react in the moment. A couple of days after, she came to me and she said, "Oh, well, I thought you met Robin in Tinder." It was Tinder that I said.
Oh,
Um, and I was like, "Well,
I
no,
didn't even hear.
no. I told her that I met you in a dating app, like while you were in Bariloche, and we met and blah."
Oh, I can remember, if I can insert that really quick. I can remember when we were sitting in the airport with her mom. I was sitting with her, and she was like So you met while hiking. I was like, oh shit, I'm so bad at lying. So I had to play along that we met in Bariloche.
Yeah, and she was like really, really curious about and why you traveled to Bariloche from
Yeah.
Germany. And he was telling her like, oh yeah, they say that Bariloche is like the Swiss of Latin America, something like that. But yeah, well, a couple of days after, she came to me and she said, I thought you met Robin through Tinder. And I was like, oh mom, you are so old school. So if I have told you that I met him through Chatroulette, that she doesn't even know what is Chatroulette to begin with, she wouldn't understand really. Like she would be really scared of me being with a stranger in my home. I really knew that she wouldn't understand the whole thing. So I preferred to tell her that I already met him and we were secure of each other and everything. So she was like, oh, well, okay, but you have to tell me the whole story. And I told her, and she was okay with it. And my father as well, he found out at our wedding, but he's like more like he let it pass. Like he didn't confront me about the lie. He was okay. I think they realized that they had an old school mind and they accept the way the things develop.
I mean, in the end, you are happily married, or you are working on closing the distance. Eventually, your family has to let you go, Eileen, because you're going to move to Germany, but you're able to spend a lot of time, a lot of quality time with them at the moment. I'm wondering what's next for you.
I already have one of her cats with me. I took it on the long flight to Germany. In the end of last month, she put in the visa application and they accepted it already in less than 2 weeks. So we already have a date when she comes to Germany.
Yeah, it was really quick. I set up a date really far away because they told me that it could take at least 3 months. I didn't expect that it was going to be in less than 2 weeks. So in September, I already have my visa to go to Germany and start a lot of paperwork again.
Yeah, we all love paperwork.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And,
Yeah,
and that's a demonstration of love as well, because all my life here in Argentina, I avoid paperwork so much. But since I met him, I never did this amount of paperwork. So
well, I would
that's
say
a demonstration of love.
I would say a bigger demonstration is that you gave Negrito with me
Yeah, my cat
because
is
for
a
her it's
trust.
more like a baby.
Yeah,
She
yeah, my
really
cats
she
are my
really
baby.
loves him. And in between, I moved to a bigger apartment already, so that we have some more space than only one room to live in. We're already set up really good, I would think.
May I ask, Eileen, so you're going to move this year in September, right? What is it you plan for Germany? Because speaking out of our experience, we lived in Germany together. In our case, we were married for 4 years at that time when Nacho moved to Germany. But it is a lot. You've mentioned paperwork, but you do have to adapt. You have to learn the language. You want to integrate, obviously. Um, Maybe looking for a job. Like, I guess your to-do list will be quite long. May I ask, what is your approach? How do you feel about all of it that's going to lay ahead of you?
Well, I have a lot of mixed emotions with it because I am ready. When I got the email of the visa, I start like to really feel the reality. I would say I am optimistic. I am scared, of course, because it's a big jump in my life. My plan for Germany is really put a lot of effort to learn the language because I think that's the most important thing to integrate in the society, to make friends, or to handle work. I got my title translated. I am a lab technician. But when I go to Germany, my first thing is going to go to the office so to see if they can homologate my title. But of course, at the beginning, I will have to work in another field because I am still learning the language. I cannot work in my field with my current level of German. And of course, the first thing I'm going to do as well is to go to a German learning school so I can in presential mode, because not right now I am doing an online course. Presential, I think, is really different, and you have a lot of people, you only speak German, and I think that's a better way. Yeah, I am not so scared of the cultural differences. I am not the most friendly human. Really, I am like more like solitary person, kind of quiet. I don't like small talks. Like it happens to me a lot here in Argentina. It's like I have a magnet for all ladies that come to me to talk about anything. I am more like I am in my own line, like going to my own direction. So I think in that
This
part,
sounds German. I don't like small talk. I'm just like straightforward, my direction. Like I'm German by heart.
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I am not so scared of that. I am more scared about the language barrier, but I put a lot of effort to learn German because I really that's the only tool you really need. The other things it came with the time, and I already moved to Bariloche. I was really far away from my family, so I already experienced how to be in distance, to missing birthdays or Christmas. Those things doesn't really scare me. But yeah, it's going to be cool be able to visit Argentina once a year or something like that. One thing that really worries me is the health of my father. For example, I once wrote you in one of your posts how you deal with knowing that your parents are growing old and all that stuff, and you being really far away. That's the thing that it bugs me a little, but I am working on it. In general, I am really optimistic
Looking
about
forward.
everything. Yeah.
Looking forward closing the distance. I mean, everything else you will figure out along the way. It's gonna be an up and down, but that's like this with everything, not gonna lie. Slowly coming to an end. First of all, also thank you again for opening up and for sharing this part of your story. I know it's a lot to take in and it's a lot to prepare for, but slowly coming to an end of this episode today, I'm wondering, what advice would you give to everyone who's listening and or watching right now?
I will say that to having a long distance relationship, the key is always the communication, a really deep communication. Not only like saying no, like we communicate in real life. Like we can gesticulate, we can show our faces, like put like a more expressions to it. I think it's fundamental to really explain your feelings so the other one can get everything, because through a message or through a voice memo the communication is really limited, so you have to really work on it. I think that's the fundamental thing in a long distance relationship. And as I took bad, like the thing about the family of Robin, thinking that I was with him because of interest or something. And sometimes it gets me a little bit like, that's sad. At the end of the day, you have to really focus on what is going on with your feelings in the important part that is being with your partner. And everyone is going to talk, everyone is going to judge you, everyone is going to have something to say about anything. You just have to focus on your own road.
I would say most important is try to trust and to not get scared. But also, when you get scared, when you have distrust, openly communicate it. And if you are like on the receiving end, try to not take it personally, but try to be understanding and work out why that feelings happen, where do they come from, and if you can actively do something against it. Because I think we both had a both ways with those things. And the thing which helped a lot is that when something was in our head, that even if it was stupid, even that we sometimes ourselves knew that it was stupid, to talk about it, to just get it out of the system, out of the way. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much for sharing your love story and for being so open-minded. I would also, at some point, Eileen, maybe next year after you move to Germany, do a little catch up with you, Eileen, to learn more about how you've adapted, maybe some tips from your own experience, because I think that could add a lot of value for everyone who's considering to move abroad or moved abroad and maybe struggles. What I would also like to do is I will add a link in the description of the video as well as in the side note, which is linking a guideline for communication. I just finalized it, and I think it's just linking very well with what you've just shared, is that communication is key. We all know that communication is key, yes, but then the question is also, how do you tackle a sensitive topic? How do you tackle like those conversations that are a little bit more difficult to have, where you're just like, I kind of prefer avoiding it, but I know we have to tackle this topic in a way that we are both focused, not gonna get angry, and we are going to walk through that. So for everyone who's interested in it, it's free. Just download it. You will find the link below as well. And on top of this, I will link your social media accounts for those who would like to learn more about you. They can get in contact with you directly. And yeah, with this being said, have a lovely afternoon, have a lovely evening. Again, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you so much for having
Yeah,
us.
that's really
It
fun.
was really fun. Yeah.